Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, it's a bit of a behind the scenes episode. And because of what I have been getting up to over the past few weeks or so, I thought it'd be beneficial to share with you all about the real things that happen inside of a business. So let's talk about what's happening in the sales ops effect. This is the sales ops effect where we drive predictable growth in small to medium sized businesses. Let's talk about what's happening in the sales ops effect. Right. So I was all about courses. I still am. I am a trainer. I am a coach. That's me fully, complete with project management. And obviously, all of that is sales operations. But for my business, it would be predominantly about sharing the learning and explaining things so that people have this knowledge so that they can go forth with their own businesses and grow them, right? Because as we know, it's not all about the tech, right? The tech isn't the solution to everything. They're very, very useful tools, but they don't run businesses. And so, as you know, I had courses before. I had a couple of short courses and I had my great big long course, which I may be splitting up in the future, not sure. But I decided because I'm all in on my business now, I quit my day job, that I will be going into services or more services, more expansive services, directly to small and medium-sized businesses, right? Because the smaller the businesses, the less likely they are to have sales operations. And the smaller the business is, the business owner is likely doing absolutely everything, and they don't have time to go on courses. Or it might seem like it's a really good thing to buy a short course, but chances are that business owner's got to buy the course and not actually take the training and make the changes that they need to make. And I'm all about results. So I could have just created another training program specifically for business owners, telling them about the metrics and what all of these things mean. And when something turns this way, what should you do? I could have done that, but the chances are people would have bought it and not watched it and not actually benefited from it. And I'm not about that life. I am about the actual change, right? So therefore, with all of this newfound time, I decided to create my services, which took all kinds of thinking and thinking again and thinking again and then simplifying because it's like if I know how to do things for a 7 to 9 figure business, which I have had all of that experience with, the 9 figure business stuff doesn't need to be applied at the 6, 7 figure level or not to the same potency to the same degree because they're different. That's the whole point of having a maturity model, right? So that took rounds of understanding and help with my coach and the coaching program that I'm in, because don't sit here thinking that I'm not getting training. I am getting training. I do have a coach. I'm very much a believer in continual learning, as you can imagine, right? So I have my different services. I have my level 1, 2, and 3. So level 1 being the sales accountability group. So that's where you can come on that in small groups to have your questions answered and learn from everybody else about what it is to have a functioning sales system, not just something that where you're trying to push things, but you're scattergunning your approach, right? Or you're being inefficient with things, but you don't realize because you're scattergunning, because everybody gives you advice from everywhere. And it's not to say that everybody else is wrong. That's not true. But some things are right for your business and some things are wrong for your business. And some of those things are right and wrong for your business at the right time. There's plenty of things that could be great for your business to do, but now's not the right time. You're not at that maturity yet. Your business isn't at that maturity yet. It's a next year thing. You don't need to do it right now because it's just unnecessary. You're not actually going to get the benefits of it. And that's the whole point of having that group, because it gets those questions answered. Obviously, I have my one-to-one direction call for the very emergency stuff, but the group is there because that's every 2 weeks on a group call. You learn from everyone. Then I created the level 2, which is the reliable revenue program, which is one-on-one that lasts for 12 weeks, right? And I'm loving that one because that is very much the conversations that I have been having in the past with business owners in the 7, 8, and 9 figure companies, where a lot of them don't actually know what the graphs are saying that they're looking at. So they've bought all of this technology and they don't know how to understand it. And that's why they end up bringing in somebody who understands the technology, but that person usually speaks tech and can't explain it. So again, I'll be speaking to my small to medium-sized business owners so that they can understand the data that their business is showing and giving them and telling them, because the business will tell you what you need to do to improve, to get better. It will tell you. If you've been collecting the data will tell you what's going on, but people don't know how to read that data. And so that's what that's all about, stabilizing in order to grow. Because if you're going to try, you've got all of these growth plans, but your month to month is all over the shop. There's no stability in it, then you can't grow. It's literally like being building a castle in sand. And then level 3, I decided would be the fractional sales ops. So that's effectively me doing the work for businesses. And that works well because if a business is realizing that they're at the point where they need to hire sales ops, because based on all of the research and all of the surveys and talking to people that I've been doing over the past 6 weeks or so, the people that are being hired right now are being hired to run the tech, but they're not called CRM administrators anymore. They're called RevOps managers or directors, or sales ops managers or directors, and that, they're different things, but businesses don't know that. So they're hiring people in who understand the tech, but they don't understand how to actually build the foundations. That means the tech will be better utilized. And so I have that there so that I can go in to those businesses, set everything up, set up the ground, and then they can go out and hire. Or if they've already got somebody in there and they're new and that person's sorting out the tech, having a two things concurrently, that works, right? But the thing is about all of this is that I had to sort out all of my own numbers, which I had a post-it note that was sitting on my screen for so many months that said the day I can run my own numbers. And that's my main thing, because obviously I love sales ops. Obviously, I'll be doing my own sales ops. Like if I do decide to grow this company so that I'm hiring a few people full time, because obviously I have external help, but if I do that, I imagine I still would be running my own sales ops, or at least I'd want to, right? And so I then had to sit down and do my goal planning. And doing your goal planning from scratch, ooh, ooh. And that's why I went into talking about all the services and sharing all of that with you first, because once I knew what those services were and I had to revamp them so that it wasn't just a one and done, right? You then have to figure out the pricing for them and go through all of that rigmarole. And then once I'd figured out the pricing, I had to figure out, and how am I going to, what ways can people pay? Is it you pay one time and that's it, or do they pay over time? And I basically set it up so that as a standard, people just pay, because everything is 3 months, right? And as a standard, people just pay for it monthly. And then that's when I had to look at my goal planning and say, right, so if I know what my goals are, because I've already sat down and talked about that with myself, then if I know what my goals are and I know how much money I want to be getting in the bank every month, not the same as a sale, money in the bank every month, then I need to calculate everything backwards from that. Because money in the bank, for me, I refer to that as your revenue forecast. It's not the same as sales closed won. Different terminology. I say this all the time, but it really does depend on the company that you're in, because people throw around these words and use them for different things. But that's just how I see it, right? There's no real right or wrong. And so my revenue forecast report is the one that will show me my expected money in the bank per month, and obviously what has happened. And so if I'm looking at that as my ultimate goal, as the money in the bank, there's so many things that come before that. There's stages of things that come before that. And so in the part 2 of this, we'll be talking about the things that I had to set up and build so that I could eventually give myself a number of how many new opportunities, new leads do I need to have every month in order for me to get to that end goal? Because it's not a question of you just have the end goal of money in the bank and you divide that by the number of people, because that presumes you have a 100% win rate. And that's not what happened. So in the part 2 of this, because I was trying to not make this too long, we'll be talking about all of that good stuff. So yes, this is very much a behind the scenes, and do let me know what your questions and comments are. But I'll be talking about that in a part 2. Speak to you soon. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please look at the list of other episodes. I'm sure there's another one that can help you. See you next time.